What is up, everyone? I'm ExxotikGaming, and today I am back with another Pixel Gun 3D weapon review, this time on another awesome and very unique weapon from the 11.0.0 update. Today's review is going to be on one of my favorite weapons from this update, the Charge Cannon, second only to the dual laser blasters. So, just like with the past two videos, if you guys do enjoy this review, make sure to leave a like. I would really appreciate it a lot if you guys did, and make sure to comment down below which weapon you want to see me review next. Done? Alright, so let's get right into this review. Right off at the very beginning here, going into the armory section here, looking at our character proudly holding this weapon on the left-hand side of the screen, it looks like it would be a very powerful weapon. And indeed it is. With a grade of Epic and an efficiency of 24, the Charge Cannon is one of the most powerful premium and area damage weapons, period, in the history of Pixel Gun 3D. Now, Really Soft gives this weapon a 60 firing rate, but do not be fooled, because that is not an accurate number. This weapon is the first weapon in the history of Pixel Gun 3D to have a changing firing rate, a variable firing rate that you can pretty much determine how fast you want this weapon to fire. And depending on how fast you fire this weapon will directly correspond with how powerful one single shot of this weapon will actually be. You can have a firing rate as fast as the rocket crossbow and as slow as the Big Buddy or the Ghost Lantern. So it all depends on how you personally use this weapon. This weapon also has a 125 capacity, which just adds some more sugar to the cake. It's absolutely fantastic. You will probably never need to reload this weapon one single time in an entire match that you go into, because 125 shots is a lot. And in a Silent School deathmatch, you die so many times that it is very, very unlikely that you will actually go through all of your shots before you actually die from some other player that you run into. Now, as you guys can see, the most striking difference with this weapon and any other area damage weapon and any weapon, period, in Pixel Gun 3D is this special little bar at the bottom of the screen. Now, this little bar here basically determines how powerful you want one single shot of this weapon to be, and it absolutely destroys. This weapon is so good, and it's such an easy one-shot kill to an enemy player that you will most likely win a majority of the matches that you go into when using this weapon. However, this weapon does require a very different type of playstyle than any other weapon in Pixel Gun 3D. It's completely different from pretty much anything out there, and because of that, a lot of people might be turned off by this weapon. They might think this weapon is just weird or just really hard to use. But I promise you, after using this weapon for a while, you will get ultra kills like I just got right there very, very often, and very commonly, very reliably, and it's just such a fantastic weapon that I don't see how people wouldn't like this weapon. It's a wonderful weapon, and after using this weapon for a while, I'm confident in that this weapon is one of the best premium weapons out there in Pixel Gun 3D. However, that doesn't really determine how you are supposed to use this weapon. A lot of people will use this weapon kind of like some of your other area damage weapons, where you pretty much spray and pray. You fire as fast as you possibly can because it looks like the blast is the same. It looks like the thing that you fire out of this weapon is the same depending on if you fire like this and if you fire like this. However, that is not the case. If you have this weapon at about 60% or more power, then this weapon will be a one-shot kill to a max armored player. So just hold down the firing button for a bit, and you'll be amazed by how good of gameplay you will get, even if that means you're gonna potentially die if somebody else kills you. That's why I say this weapon requires a very different firing or very different playstyle, because the immediate instinct when using an area damage weapon is the second you see somebody, you're just gonna start spamming your button until that person dies. However, if you do not use this weapon properly, you will find that it's like 4 shots before you take a max armored player out. I'll show you guys, if you fire it like the improper way, how difficult it is to take a max armored player out. So let's go see somebody. There's a guy right here. Let's see how many shots it actually is, unless this turret takes me out. Let's see how many shots it actually is to take a max armored player out, if I can manage to do so. Here's one, or there's one, here's 2, here's 3, here is 4, and before I could even finish that guy killed me. And all I have to do is just hold down this little thing for a bit, and it's a one-shot kill against somebody. And as you guys can see, the blast radius is so big that it's pretty hard to actually get away from this if somebody else is using this weapon. This has such a big blast radius, it's like as big as the Ghost Lantern, and that's saying a lot. As you guys can see, it also takes out turrets very, very well. Another thing I have found when using this weapon is, after you fire this weapon and somebody is going to kill you, if they kill you, you pretty much instantly have like a last minute. It's a little difficult to explain, but basically if somebody kills you, you have like a last little potential chance at killing somebody else. It's like as if when somebody kills you, you let go of the trigger as you're dying, and you have one little last blast before you eventually respawn. It's a little interesting, and it's a little hard to explain, but you guys have seen that when I die, if the person is right next to me, I'm going to end up killing whoever is next to me. And it's kinda almost like a suicide kill like that, and it's very, very interesting. So now to how you properly use this weapon. As you guys probably heard, I don't know if I said this actually at the beginning, but I do not recommend using this weapon in Coliseum, because this weapon does require that little charge up, and since it's so often you find an enemy player in Coliseum, it's hard to avoid somebody, and somebody's probably going to end up killing you while you are charging up this weapon. And the way I use this weapon is I pretty much go into an area where there are less people, like this area right here. I charge up my weapon, wait until it's a decent power, and then I fire at the people. I don't immediately run into the little hallway like I do right here and then charge up my weapon, because as you guys can see, somebody kills me before I have enough power charged up in my weapon to actually kill them. So it really does require a very different type of playstyle, and it's not going to really work for a lot of people right off at the very beginning. But trust me, after you use this weapon for a while, I'd say about 30 to 40 minutes every day for about 4 days, you're going to get used to this weapon and used to the playstyle that is required in order to get decent gameplay with this weapon. As you guys can see, look at how big that blast damage was with this weapon. It is a fantastic blast radius, one of the biggest in this game. I mean, you can literally blast somebody from almost across this room and they will die because this has such a big blast radius. It's very good. There's another perfect example right there of having that last little shot, that last chance at killing somebody while they end up dying, or while they end up killing you. So that's pretty cool. I love this weapon, guys. This is one of my most favorite area damage weapons out there, and one of the ones that I can probably use the best and get some of the best gameplay currently in Pixel Gun 3D. It is very uncommon that you actually lose a match, and I want to see here. I got 23 kills, and the main reason why I didn't get in the top 3 there was just because I died too many times, and that is a result of me not using this weapon properly and immediately going out into the hallway before this weapon is charged. As you guys could see there, I didn't charge it enough, and that guy ended up having a second chance before I finally finished him off with a second shot. You always want to have this weapon at about 2/3 to 70% charge, and that way this weapon will be a one-shot kill to anybody that you come in contact with, because if you do not get that first initial kill to somebody, you're probably going to end up dying, because you have to wait until this weapon fully charges before you have a chance to actually hit the enemy player. And during that whole time, they can easily throw grenades, they can use another area damage weapon, they can use whatever they want, and almost all of the time they do that, they will be able to kill you while you are still charging up your weapon. So that's the only really big downside with this weapon. A lot of the times you are going to die when using this. I'm not going to say you can't get monster kills with this weapon, but a lot of the time you're going to get a kill and then you're going to die. And then you're going to get another kill and then you're going to die. And that's just kind of how this weapon works. But it's great because you can get so many kills with this weapon that you're probably going to end up winning anyways when using this weapon. It's great. I love this weapon. It's given me some great gameplay so far, and I couldn't be happier with anything that this weapon has to offer. It's great. It's a very good weapon, and I'm very pleased with this weapon so far. I hope Really Soft adds in more little charge-up type weapons, because this weapon works very well, and I mean, hey, as you guys can see, triple kills, ultra kills, monster kills, very average when using this weapon. I mean, that's just common. You don't normally get a death and then another death and another death. It's like just kill after kill after kill, and yeah, you may die a lot, but you're just getting so many kills that it doesn't really matter how many deaths you actually get when using this weapon. I mean, as you guys can see, a double kill is almost all the time what you are going to get when using this weapon. At least a double kill. If you don't get a double kill, then that's just uncommon. That's just not the usual. Triple kills are about, I'd say, like, at least for me, like 60% of the time. 60% of the time when I spawn in, I get at least a double kill or so, and that's just, it's great. I mean, I'm so happy with how this weapon performs. As you guys can see, though, if you don't really charge up the weapon, it's not that powerful. So there's one-shots, and if I had just charged up the weapon a little bit more, that would have been a nice, good one-shot kill, and that guy would have never even seen it coming. You always want to have this weapon charged up in the ready. Even if you don't see somebody can easily pop out behind a corner and you can just fire and you can be ready with the weapon charged instead of just running around like I am doing right here, where this weapon doesn't really have any charge, and if I see somebody come around a corner, I have to wait for this weapon to charge up. If you have to wait for the weapon to charge up, you're at a very big disadvantage, and you do not want to have that happen. So you always want to have this weapon charged up, even if it's at max charge, and you're just sitting there time and time again, just going longer and longer and longer without actually hitting anybody. It's going to be worth it in the end. I mean, as you guys can see, I've gotten some fantastic gameplay in this video, better than most of the other gameplays I've gotten with other area damage weapons in Pixel Gun 3D, and that's just kind of how it works with this weapon. It's a pretty expensive weapon as well. It's around 200 gems, I believe, so you're not going to really have to get this weapon for a cheap price. You're going to have to be willing to spend a little bit in order to get good gameplay. That's kind of how it always works. It's pay to win. You have to pay a lot in order to get the best gameplay when using these weapons in Pixel Gun 3D. But, I mean, it's really not that bad. 200 gems is, I mean, a lot of people can actually earn gems from winning. They can find them in matches sometimes. I believe every 40 kills you can find a gem in a deathmatch or a team deathmatch or something like that. So it is possible to get a fair amount of gems, and then you can just pay for the last, like, I don't know, 100 or so, and then you can finally get this weapon. So it's great. I mean, as you guys can see right there, I think I got second place, and that's just, it's normal. I mean, that's what you get. Third place. Second, third, first place, that is usually the placement that you will have when using this weapon. I was a little surprised because when I first used this weapon, I was expecting something a little bit cooler in first person mode, as you guys can see right here, but it does look really cool. The little charge spinning around and eventually waiting its demise against some enemy player. So, I mean, it does look pretty cool, but I think it could look a little bit cooler. Maybe ReallySoft could make a little bit more graphical improvements to this thing and make it even cooler in a future update. But that's not necessary. This thing still does its job, and it does it very, very well. If you do see somebody that doesn't have max armor, don't be afraid to not fully charge this weapon. I mean, if you see somebody that has, like, maybe ruby armor or crystal armor or something like that, you don't have to charge it up to 2/3, okay? I would say, I'd probably say about 70% to a max armored player. I'd say about 50% to a ruby armored player, about 40% to a crystal, maybe even 30%. To a wooden armored player, it's very little. To a gold armored player, it's very little. You don't have to charge it up all that much. Maybe a quarter, and then you're good. I mean, like, you hold it down for about a half a second, and you're already enough to kill a gold armored player. So you don't have to really worry about that. If you are one of the lower level players out there in Pixel Gun 3D, this thing will be a beast. I'm not entirely sure what level you unlock this weapon at. I would assume it is a pretty high level, but you do probably get some great gameplay at a lower level when using this weapon. So my overall opinion with this weapon, I definitely would recommend getting it if you have the gems available, even more than the dual laser blasters that I reviewed just before this one. If you haven't gotten those ones yet, then I would recommend getting this one well before those ones, just because it's such a unique area damage weapon that nothing else is like. And it's honestly fantastic. I mean, it's a lot better than pretty much all of the other area damage weapons out there. The only ones that are probably better are the Ghost Lantern, the Big Buddy, maybe something like the Smart Bullet Bazooka, and that's pretty much it. Very few other weapons are more powerful than this weapon, and it is one of the most powerful area damage weapons currently available in Pixel Gun 3D. If I was to do another top 10 weapons in Pixel Gun 3D, this would probably fall in that list because it is just that good. But anyways, guys, I'm getting a little carried away. This is going to end up being one of my longest weapon reviews out there if I don't be careful. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did, make sure to leave a like. Make sure to comment down below your opinions on this amazing weapon, the Charged Cannon. I mean, I absolutely love it. You guys have heard me in this video the entire length of this, like, 15 minutes, 16-minute video. It's a fantastic weapon, and I highly recommend it. So if you don't have it already, get this thing because you will get some fantastic gameplay with it. Overall rating, probably somewhere around a 9 to a 9.5 out of 10. So that is a very good rating, and it kind of reflects the gameplay. And as you guys can see, I've gotten much better gameplay with than the other 2 weapons that I reviewed so far in this updates. I reviewed the Bad Doctor and the dual laser blasters, and I got much better gameplay with this weapon than those ones. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Make sure to go check out my other Pixel Gun 3D weapon reviews if you have not done so already. I'll have 3 weapon reviews down below linked in the description if you guys want to go check them out. And that's pretty much it. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next episode.